We need to start with the facts. The injury report changed the look of this game more than any X's and O's could. The Cowboys are missing Trayvon Diggs and another starter listed out on the report, and that forces Dallas to rework coverage calls before the first snap. There are question marks sprinkled across the depth chart. Malik Hooker is listed questionable but likely to play. Jadeveon Clowney is a game-time decision, and the staff has to plan for both his presence and absence. On the Lions' side, you've got a laundry list. Multiple players already ruled out, and several more limited through the week, including their backup running options and a starting guard who popped up late with an injury. Ross St. Brown is a game-time decision. If he's out, that changes routes, matchups, and how Jared Goff will distribute the ball. Treat these as real chess moves. Who's healthy decides which pieces you can safely use. Now, what does all that actually mean for the game? First, the coverage. Map changes. With Trayvon Diggs unavailable, the Cowboys are going to have to lean on their nickel and the safety rotation more than usual. That likely means more zone shells early to provide help over the top and fewer single high isolated man reps on the outside. If Hooker suits up, that helps. But he was limited in practice, so the playbook should still keep room for quick reads and shorter developing concepts. Second, the run game for Detroit is impacted by both their backups' status and that guard question. Even when a team is banged up, they'll still try to run behind areas where they've had success. And the Lions have made a habit of tilting their run game to one side. Those lineup doubts on Detroit's line make their intent somewhat readable. But they'll also try to hide it with motion and pre-snap movement. From Dallas's perspective, this is an opportunity and a warning. Opportunity because the Cowboys can exploit mismatches in coverage and force Detroit to throw into less-than-ideal windows if St. Brown is limited or if a starting corner is working through an injury. Warning because losing primary coverage talent forces more reliance on scheme and pressure to create turnovers. If the pass rush can't generate consistent pressure, single coverage mistakes will be exposed. On special teams and situational football, injuries mean personnel will be shifted into roles they don't normally handle. That's one place the Lions could create cheap advantages if Dallas isn't sharp. So here's what I want from you right now. Drop a confidence number 1 to 10 in the comments. How confident are you the Cowboys win this? Also, vote quick. With these losses and questionable tags, do you want Dallas to play more zone coverage early? Yes or no? And if you haven't already, hit subscribe. We're trying to hit 17,000 subscribers so we can get even better pregame coverage and live reaction. If you want me to highlight any specific injury or matchup in the next chapter, tell me which player and I'll dig into it next. The Lions have been using pre-snap motion on roughly 69.6% of their snaps this year. And when they bring motion into a play, they're getting explosive results, averaging about 6.9 yards per play with it. That's elite. The matchup problem for you as a Cowboys fan is this. When opponents run motion, Dallas has been vulnerable, allowing roughly 6.4 yards per play on those looks. So the big question the coaching staff needs to answer before the first drive is simple. Are we going to try to stop motion with personnel or with scheme? Here's how I'd break it down for you. Personnel fixes mean using more nickel and safety help, bringing a second high safety, or rotating in a veteran slot corner who can handle route combinations coming out of motion. Scheme fixes mean giving the front office and coaches the chance to lean on zone shells early, play more pattern-matching zone and fewer isolated press man reps, so the defense can funnel receivers into help and reduce blown single coverage plays. With Trayvon Diggs out, the temptation is to blanket less and sag more. You're trading a chance at forcing turnovers for fewer explosive pass plays allowed. Personally, early zone calls make a lot of sense while you feel out who's healthy and how Detroit is disguising their motion. Then add Aiden Hutchinson into the mix. He's been a game wrecker this year. Think of him as a shorter, more violent version of the elite pass rushers we've seen, and that affects how the Cowboys protect and how often they'll chip with tight ends or running backs. If Dallas chips Hutchinson too frequently, you lose a blocker on intermediate routes, and that helps Jared Goff get the ball out quickly into the vacated areas. If you ignore him, Dak has less time, and quick developing motion concepts become even more dangerous. So you have to balance. Chip enough to slow the edge without surrendering the middle of the field. This is also where special matchups matter. With the Lions likely to run a fair amount of man when they can, and more zone when they need to protect Goff, the Cowboys' nickel and their coverage linebacker rotations, think Jake Ferguson-type matchup work, become critical. I want to see more pattern-matching zone on early downs and planned man coverage only on short yardage or obvious passing downs. It minimizes the damage from motion while still letting the pass rush hunt. Quick interaction for you. In the comments, vote now. Zone early or man early against Goff. And while you're at it, hit that like button if you think Dallas needs to chip Hutchinson every single snap. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. Getting to 17,000 subscribers will mean more live breakdowns and in-game reaction clips during the matchup. Next up, we'll shift from pass concepts to the ground game and why the Lions' right side rush attack could be the other leg that wins or loses this one. The ground game is going to be a deciding factor, and the numbers tell a very clear story. Detroit leans to the right, and when they run that way, they make opponents pay. They've run to the right on about 56.3% of handoffs, and when they do, they're averaging roughly 6 yards a carry, compared to about 4.2 yards when they attack the other side. That consistency on the right, largely thanks to the Tate Ratledge and panel combination and a back who thrives in those lanes, means Dallas can't treat every run the same. If you're the Cowboys, your focus has to be gap integrity and linebacker leverage on that side more than blitz packages or exotic looks. The simplest winning formula against a team that leans one way is to force them to beat you elsewhere. Stack the box correctly early. Make snaps after the catch an offensive necessity for Detroit. And don't give them easy downhill yards to set up long drives. That's where your defensive interior, the big three of the D-line rotation, has to show up. If those interior defenders can hold the point of attack and force runs to bounce outside, you bring the play into areas where perimeter defenders and angles matter more, and that helps limit those 6-yard carries. On the flip side, Javonte Williams is having a career year and remains a critical chess piece for Dallas. He's averaging nearly 5 yards per carry and looks like a true workhorse. You want him getting second and medium opportunities turned into manageable third downs and red zone tries. But the Cowboys' success on early downs will dictate how often Williams gets the ball in favorable spots. If the interior run defense gets handled and Detroit finds gaps to the right, game script flips to more rushing attempts for them and fewer designed shots for Dak. That's why run defense is as much about personnel choices as it is about assignments. Are you comfortable letting younger linebackers flow downhill? Or do you keep your veterans shaded to the strong side to combat that right side tendency? There's also a situational point you can't ignore. When Detroit commits to right side runs successfully, they change the clock and the pace. Shorter drives, more time of possession, and fewer opportunities for Dak to mount big comeback drives. Conversely, if Dallas wins down the middle and forces Detroit into longer, more predictable passing sequences, Dak gets more third and manageable situations where his playmaking matters most. So I want you to watch two things in the first half: how often the Lions get immediate success on right-side runs, and whether Dallas adjusts by sliding linebackers and safeties earlier than anticipated. Quick fan poll for this one. Do you want the Cowboys to lean into stopping the run, even if it means fewer aggressive blitzes? Vote yes or no in the comments. And while you're at it, drop whether you think Javonte hits 100-plus scrimmage yards tonight, yes or no. If you haven't subscribed yet, smash that subscribe button. We're shooting for 17,000 subscribers to expand our live game coverage and real-time breakdowns. Next, we'll move from scheme and gap responsibility into individual matchups and X factors. The players whose performances will swing this game one way or the other. All right, let's zoom in on the players who can swing this game one way or the other. The guys you absolutely have to watch. First, CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens are the Cowboys' primary vertical threats. And when those two are going at pace, they open the middle of the field for everyone else. Pickens has been a major addition since the trade and is playing at a high level with Dallas, so expect him to be a focal point in third down and chunk play situations. Jake Ferguson is the matchup tight end, who can move the chains in short to intermediate windows. When Ferguson wins his linebackers' tight end battles, that forces Detroit to rotate coverage and opens up space for deeper shots. On defense, keep an eye on the defensive tackles. The interior play will determine whether Detroit's right side rushing attack can chew up yards. If Quinnen Williams and the interior rotation win the point of attack, you'll see the Lions forced to try creative misdirection instead of pounding downhill. And that's when Dak gets more manageable third downs. The rookie corner Siobhan Revel has also been stepping in and making plays. With Trayvon Diggs out, Revel and the rest of the corner room have to be ready to handle increased reps and tight matchup work, especially in the slot and on quick outs. Don't forget the situational guys who can flip the script, special teams contributors, the backup tight ends who might see more blocking reps, and any third down back who can catch passes out of the backfield and create mismatches. Javonte Williams is the obvious offensive X factor for Dallas. When he's getting consistent carries and finishing runs, the Cowboys control tempo and keep Jared Goff working on longer drives. If Williams can bust a couple of big runs early, the Lions will feel pressure to pass, which plays right into Dak's strengths when the offensive line holds up. Here's the part where I want you involved. Name one breakout player for tonight in the comments. Who's your pick and why? I'll read my favorite responses during the live stream. Also, vote quick. Which player will you be watching most? Pickens, Lamb, Ferguson, or Revel? Drop the letter in the comments. If you haven't already, please subscribe. We're racing to 17,000 subscribers, so I can bring even more live breakdowns and post-game reaction. Smash that like button if you want more deep-dive player-by-player analysis. Coming out of this chapter, I'll tie all of this together into a final read. What the likely script looks like and the exact things you should be watching on the live broadcast to know who's winning this game in real time. Take everything we've covered. Injuries that reshaped coverage, Detroit's motion-heavy passing attack, their right-side run bias, Aiden Hutchinson's pass rush presence, and the Cowboys' key playmakers, and compress it into a likely script. Expect a game that starts with quick, motion-driven passing concepts from Detroit designed to probe Dallas's mismatches. If those early plays work, Detroit will ride that right-side rushing success to chew clock and shorten the game. If Dallas can force shorter gains on right-side runs and generate a few early 3-and-outs, the script flips. More possessions for Dak, more chances for chunk plays, downfield, and a heavier dose of Javonte Williams to control tempo. Practically, that means Dallas wants to be disciplined on first and second down. Don't give Detroit easy yards to the right. And then use third down play calling to create turnover opportunities without gambling away field position. Here's your live game checklist so you know what matters. First, watch the first 3 plays from scrimmage. If Detroit runs right twice and gains 8+ yards each time, that's an early warning sign. Dallas has to adjust personnel and leverage quickly. Second, track how often Dallas uses zone shells versus press man in the first quarter. More zone early is the conservative, higher probability path when Diggs is out. Third, count chips on Hutchinson. Are tight ends or running backs always helping him? If so, that opens intermediate windows for Goff. If not, Dak's time in the pocket will be limited, and quick passes become essential. Fourth, monitor Javonte's touches and yards after contact. If he's hitting 4+ yards after contact consistently, the Cowboys control the clock. Finally, watch the defensive tackles on early third downs. If Quinnen and the interior rotation can collapse lanes, Detroit's right side advantage collapses with it. Betting expectation mindset for fans. Don't expect a blowout either way. This one could tilt on a single turnover or a couple of splash plays. If you bet or set expectations, favor the side that wins the trenches early, whether that's Dallas, protecting the middle, or Detroit finding seams to the right. For casual fans watching, the most telling stat will be third down conversion rate in the first half. That will predict who controls the second half. Before I sign off, quick interaction. Drop your confidence number 1 to 10 in the comments. What's your pick now after this breakdown? And if you want to see in-game micro breakdowns, hit subscribe. We're pushing to 17,000 subscribers, so I can run live clips and instant reactions during the game. Smash the like button if you want a post-game breakdown focused only on the matchups that mattered.